Hi guys. So I thought I'd hold my camera with my hand to shoot this video, and I don't know what it's going to look like because I can't be on the other side and see it. But my idea for you here is so when I got cold, I could be sitting up watching television and I would get cold. And it wasn't just my body, but sometimes my head would get cold. And I've kind of realized over the years, it's kind of a long story as to how, but I've realized that I can put my blanket over my head and face and be warm up top that way. And you may think, well, would you sit and watch TV with a blanket over your head and face? And the answer is that in my case, yes, I might do it because you can still hear the program, and that's a big percentage of your enjoyment in watching a TV show. And actually, to my surprise, when I put a blanket over my head, I can see out a little bit because, or at least some of the blankets I can, because the way it's woven, there's little gaps. Now, now I can be sitting with someone. I was sitting with my friend watching television, and I can put a blanket over my head and face. I guess I'll do it now. It'll be hard because I have one arm out holding the camera. But like right now, well, actually I can't see the camera. This particular blanket is a pretty dense weave. So in this case I would mostly have to listen to the TV. But I would be nice and warm under here, and I could talk to my friend who I was watching TV with, and I would be able to hear them as well, and it would keep me warm. Now after a while I might get tired of it. It might get too warm. Mostly this is at night, and I sleep this way too sometimes because my head gets cold and my face gets cold, and this keeps everything warm from your feet up to the top of your head. So I'm sharing it with you. It's kind of fun too. There's something a little amusing about sitting under a blanket and you're talking and listening, but you're not exposed like you usually are when you talk and listen. It maybe makes you more aware of sound, but it's kind of nice too. It's a little bit like being inside your own space, and yet you're sort of out in the world too, because you're in a room watching TV with other people. So that's the idea. It's kind of a long story as to how I got this idea. I know that John Lennon and Yoko Ono did some shows back in the day where they'd get in a bag and talk. I don't know the details of those shows, but I read about that, and that influenced this idea. And then, I was at a show once where some of the people, well, the show was actually at a record store, and there were racks of records. Some of the audience put blankets down on the ground and sat. They could hear the performers. It was a poetry reading, but they couldn't see them because when they sat on the floor, these racks of records would block their view. And I realized that even though they couldn't see the performers, they'd still get a lot out of the performance because they could hear the poems being read. So that made me aware that if I needed to, I could put a blanket over myself and I could still kind of participate in life to some degree. in certain activities like watching television or just sleeping. So that's the idea. If you can, let me know if it's an idea you think you'd use. I'm kind of willing to do unusual things. Not everyone is. So you may not use it, but if you don't use it, at least, or use it now, at least you have it in your mind that it's a potential for you. Maybe down the road you'll use it.